Now we will talk about iScala in a box purchase ledger. So now we will talk about iScala in a box purchase ledger. So we will go to the purchase ledger folder. These are all the available options that we can use in order to handle all the purchase ledger or the accounts payable transactions and reports. So we will start with defining a new supplier. By double clicking here, you will find the supplier information screen where we can define a new supplier or edit an existing record of a supplier, including the supplier code, the supplier name, and many other information. So in order to select one of the existing suppliers, I can open the pop-up screen or the search screen, select one of them. Then the system will ask me which area of information that you want to view or edit for this specific supplier. So I can view or edit the main details of the supplier, the payment information, the accounting part of the supplier, so which ledger accounts that are affected when I post an invoice or a transaction on this supplier, and so on. So I can view all the information also as tab pages. So here, one, the main details of the supplier, two, payment information, billing information, and so on. Now we will enter a purchase ledger invoice of the supplier. Sorry. Enter supplier invoices. So I will start by entering the supplier code here and the invoice number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then other information regarding this invoice, like the invoice date, the due date of the invoice, whether there is a discount date, and then we enter the invoice amount, 1,000 for example. Okay, then I will go to the invoice lines, and of course if there is any tax information defined for this supplier, the system will automatically calculate it. So I have a separate engine to define all the tax codes and the effect of the tax codes on this transaction by transaction. So here, because the tax code called 20 is linked to this vendor or supplier record, the system calculated a tax amount for this specific invoice. Okay, so after entering all this information, the system will ask me if I want now to enter the detailed transaction of this invoice. So here I will select the general ledger account to offset the supplier account, and here you can see the invoice amount after deducting the tax code, and the tax amount will be automatically posted to a general ledger account specified for taxes at the setup stage. So here, in order to make the invoice or the voucher that will be posted to the general ledger balance, I will enter exactly the offset amount. Okay, and then click next. And now the invoice is saved for posting, and I can view it here. Either I can review and edit it, or I can review it then post it directly. So the system asks me, do you need to change the invoice or transaction? If I click yes, I can view the posted invoice here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or I can say no, I don't want to change the invoice information. Then the system will post it directly. Okay, so it will give all the information that I posted. And here you can see the ledger account that is specified for posting the tax amount. Do you want to reprint? No. Update the general ledger? Yes, please. Supplier invoice file, okay. So now we posted the invoice for this specific supplier. With the same procedure or a similar procedure, I can enter a credit note for this supplier, and then I can enter a payment transaction. So on the payment, I select the date, and then select which account I want to enter the payment for and what is the payment amount. Okay, on the transaction text, I can enter the payment description. I can also select from an existing descriptions. And then I can select which supplier code that or supplier record that I want to record the payment for. I will select here the same supplier, and then I will have the option to select from an existing from the existing invoices that posted for this specific supplier. So I can see here our invoice that we just posted. I can select it. Then the system will make the settlement for the posted invoice. Okay, difference. Okay, I have. Yeah. Now it's updating the purchase ledger for this specific payment. Okay, now we have some reports, different reports for the purchase ledger, like the detailed printout for all the transactions that posted to the supplier files. I can also, of course, filter the report to view only specific or a group of suppliers. I have many search options or filtering options. I can also see a compressed report with no details, only balances of the suppliers. So I can here see the detailed printout. As I just said, we have many filtering options in order to filter the report to view only a specific supplier or a group of suppliers. Okay, so when I click OK, I don't want to filter now. So it will show me a detailed report for all the invoices and payments that have been posted to specific suppliers. So here I have the supplier codes, supplier information, and all the transactions that were posted into the supplier, including the invoice that we just posted. And on the compressed printout, I can also filter the report to show specific suppliers. Okay, I can filter also by a location center or by a specific dimension. Then I can view the report, the summary, only summary of all the transactions for each supplier record. Okay, if I go again here, and then I can have a list of balances, a summary balances for each supplier. I can select specific date range for each supplier, and many other filtration options. So now I can have a compressed balance report for each supplier, including the credit balance and the debit, if any, and then the totals of all the suppliers that already has or have transaction. And of course, as I said while entering the invoice, I can enter tax information, tax codes, and link it with each supplier in order for the system to calculate it automatically. Okay, now we will go through the sales ledger, and it's a bit similar to what we have done for the supplier or the purchase ledger part.